Hello and welcome back, folks. HeirofCarthage here, and today we're going to be doing another battle on Numidians. Yes, the beloved grassy flatlands of Rome 2. This one is going to be a Massaili versus Rome match. Feel excited for this one now. Massaili is kind of like knockoff desert Rome, you know, with their own desert flavor, and then of course Rome is just Rome with Roman flavor. All right, yeah, there we go. Very unique. So we got some Gaiatuli horse skirmishers rolling out here for the Massaili, but the Roman army, let's take a look. Up front are Vigiles. I see 3 units of Syrian archers. That's a pretty heavy skirmish contention for Rome. Not a terrible idea altogether, though, because the Massaili are dangerous in a skirmish. And then there is a line of Havoc cohort. These are some serious business. 61 melee attack and 90 armor. Defense is not spectacular, but those offensive stats don't lie. We're going to have Equites, Saki Equites Extraordinary. So one of those on either flank and a bodyguard general. There are some Triari. I thought I saw Triari. No, I did not. Just the Vigiles guarding. So the Gaiatuli horse skirmisher is going to be getting things started. Wow, they shredded that Avocati cohort. They're going to force it into a testudo. Interesting. Here's the archers are trying to help hold these horse skirmishers at bay too. The Gaiatuli horse skirmishers have the highest javelin damage, so they're trying to get some work done. Let's go take a look at the Massaili army here. We've got some light infantry up front, which is mostly just javelin infantry. Then we've got Desert Vigiles mixed in with them. A second line is probably a mix, of Desert Legionaries and Desert Cohort. So a mixture of those units. They won't be anywhere near as good as Avocati Cohort, but I do think they probably have... it's actually roughly the same numbers. And then in terms of cavalry, we've got some armored Numidian riders. It looks like 4 of those, and then a couple of heavy Numidian skirmishers. These are going to be javelin-wielding, alternatively decent in melee type units at 45 armor. So let's watch what happens with the Gaiatuli horse skirmishers. This Avocati cohort got mostly ruined, and this one's now taken some pretty serious damage. It was 6 Avocati in total, which is definitely plenty to deal with the infantry of the Numidians, assuming the Romans get in a good position. Now, the Romans do have a skirmish advantage. They should be able to wheel up and start unleashing some fire on to the Numidians. They are using their archers to try and help keep the horse skirmishers at bay. Those archers could be put to use potentially against the cavalry or infantry of the Massaili player here as well. It looks like the Massaili army is shifting hard to the right of the Roman. The Gaiatuli horse skirmishers are doing an excellent job of wasting ammunition on these auxiliary Syrian archers. I mean, an excellent job. Interesting how such cheap units can be so effective sometimes. These horse skirmishers cannot be ignored. Yet, if they get faced, then it kind of wastes some of the resources and micromanagement of the Roman army, which is why sometimes these cheap units are such a good investment. You can get a lot done with them, ultimately. So we're going to see them continue to skirmish there, and the Massaili continue to shift ever so slightly with their army. The Roman, I don't know if they're looking for an immediate melee engagement or not. If they do engage immediately, their Syrian archers really need to punish these heavy Numidian skirmishers. There's a lot of damage potential in those units, and they need to be dealt with. The cavalry of the Numidians is good, but I mean, it's not just overwhelmingly better than the Equites here. I mean, it's probably better, but I mean, it doesn't take much to be better. So I think if the Roman plays their cavalry close to their own support, they would be better off. If they get, kind of out of position, it could be bad. Let's see what happens here. The Romans still shielding with the Vigiles up front. If I were the Roman again, I would keep my cavalry very close to support. We're going to get a charge here from the Equites Extraordinary. See, that comes too close to the heavy Numidian skirmishers. And like I said, the Roman is ill-advised to leave those alone, because here comes a desert cavalry charge into the Avocati cohort to fix it, while the Numidian light infantry come in for follow-up. And the Saki Equites Extraordinary are going to take some damage there. And no counter-punch by the Equites in time. So essentially the Massaili are trying to get their infantry better engagements and then use their heavy Numidian skirmishers to level some of these engagements and cavalry, and the Equites Extraordinary are getting absolutely destroyed by that heavy skirmisher. And the Syrian archers, like I said, needed to stand off with those from a distance. This Equite Extraordinary takes a mean charge. The Roman army is getting kind of discombobulated at the moment as the assault here of the Messaisili is kind of throwing them off balance. And already we have an Evocati cohort going down back here. It was the one that was damaged by the Gaiatuli horse skirmishers. All this action has left one of the Syrian archers vulnerable, and it's going to get hit, and then this leaves the Gaiatuli horse skirmishers opportunity to come in here and cause even more trouble than they have been thus far. So I don't know. We'll see here. Rome's just going to have to kind of hope that brute force can carry them through at this point. They have not dealt with the heavy skirmishers. They're attempting to maybe here, but they're going to get caught on these desert legionaries, and the Romans kind of overcommitted in several spots to kind of lighter Numidian units. Let's see what's happened. The Succi Extraordinary, pretty decent cavalry in terms of armor, at least compared to their counterparts on the battlefield here, but the Numidian riders are going to be better in a prolonged melee. It looks like the Legatus coming. Are these heavy archers? What are they shooting at? Yeah, I would be shooting at the Numidian Skirmisher General. That Skirmisher General is causing undue damage to the Evocati cohort, which are kind of, unfortunately for the Roman, all balled up here, which means that almost no javelin is going to miss its mark. They're all going to land and do tremendous damage. And it looks like we've got cavalry moving to the rear of the Roman formation here. Another Evocati cohort dropping to its Numidian lessers. And the Numidian cavalry here trying to work its way into the back lines, and successful units now can be brought to bear. I can see a Desert Legionary and another Desert Legionary. I don't think that the... oh, that's a Roman Legionary. It's not an Evocati cohort. That's not good for the Romans. They're going to need all the Evocati cohort they can get. Yeah, I don't know how things are looking for the Roman. It's starting to favor the Messaisili in the power bar, and I think the Messaisili have the better engagements here. Obviously, their grind-out power is significantly better than the Messaisili, but Messaisili now have a decisive cavalry advantage, and again, their skirmishers are basically unchecked. That Equite was not able to finish the job, and so all of those javelins are going to get placed into Roman units, and it's not going to end well for the Roman here. Another Evocati cohort here goes down without near the number of kills that it needs. In fact, I'm not sure any of the Evocati cohorts so far have gotten the kills they need, and this is a big reason why. Javelins are just horrifically powerful in Rome 2. You cannot sit back and take them. It just cannot happen, whether it's from cavalry, whether it's from infantry. Javelins destroy all. They are the ultimate missile equalizer in this game. They are extraordinarily powerful, so these heavy skirmishers were definitely key units for the Numidians, as were the Gaiatuli horse skirmishers. The Roman needed to neutralize those, and if they did neutralize those effectively, then essentially what happens there, so like for instance, the Roman needs something to help better deal with the Gaiatuli horse skirmishers, which, I mean, it's not a great option, but you probably needed some Numidian horsemen to help kind of counter that. And then maybe more infantry that's just cheaper infantry, like rather than investing in all the Evocati, because the cheaper Roman infantry can get the job done against the desert cohorts. Of course, Rome's definitely going to need a fair number of cavalry too to help support, but they got picked apart pretty nicely here by the Numidians, so it's going to be a clean victory for the Messaisili there. It says close victory, but it was a pretty solid victory there. Soul over Centurion. Of course, thank you to Centurion. Centurion, I'm commenting on this battle. If you're watching and you're thinking like, man, Heir's running me, I would probably get beat a lot worse. So it's easier for me to commentate the battle than it is for me to win it. But yeah, Evocati cohort, plenty strong, very tough units. Certainly capable, but none of them got the engagements they needed. The combined arms effort here from the Messaisili was just better. You can see the skirmishers here all getting a lot of kills. Again, they were critical units, and they got a ton of kills. So it ends up coming in very valuable. The Gaiatuli horse skirmishers, very valuable here early. The auxiliary Syrian archers are probably too much investment, potentially, against the Messaisili. The Messaisili do have a lot of different skirmish options and different builds, and it's possible that Syrian archers can be good there, but it is an expensive investment as the Romans. And so I don't know how well it pays off. Like if, For instance, if they show up with slingers, it could still be a problem. So I just don't know if auxiliary Syrian archers is the way for Rome to try and deal with Missasli, and especially with the super expensive infantry. I almost wonder what would happen, for instance, if you just trade these Vigiles for Hastati, and then the Avocati cohort for maybe a bunch of Principe, and then you just get some Numidian cavalry, and then just more cavalry for Rome, and just basically have so much cavalry that the Numidians are going to be troubled by it, and their own horse skirmishers have to face yours. You close the distance, you get into melee, you throw more cavalry at them and infantry than they can handle, and just try and run over them, maybe. I don't know. What do you all think? How would you face the Missasli down as Rome? What do you think would work best? Heir of Carthage, signing out for now. I'll see you all soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.